Leonardo DiCaprio was enjoying an unusually quiet Sunday afternoon as he steered his modest hybrid through the sun-washed streets of Los Angeles. A few hours earlier, he had hosted a charity workshop for disadvantaged children, teaching them how to turn recycled junk into art. The event had left him pleasantly exhausted and hungry for something simple, something that would blur out the endless flashes of paparazzi and gala spotlights. On a whim, he pulled into a bustling McDonald's on Sunset Boulevard. Why not, he mused, craving a brief return to the everyday world he so rarely inhabited. Inside, fluorescent lights reflected off chrome counters, while the smell of fries mingled with upbeat pop music. Families filled colorful booths. Toddlers giggled on the indoor playground. The cashier's voices rose above the clatter of trays. Wearing a plain black t-shirt, jeans, and inconspicuous sunglasses, Leonardo ordered a quarter-pounder meal, silenced his phone, and retreated to a corner table where he could watch the flow of life without being watched himself. As he unwrapped his burger, a small drama began to unfold 2 tables away. A blond boy of about 5 sat rigidly next to a sharply dressed man in a flawless navy suit. The child, Ethan, as the name on his faded backpack revealed, gripped a battered toy car whose cracked wheels dangled by threads of plastic. While the man scrolled through his phone with mechanical precision, Ethan's wide eyes kept drifting toward Leonardo, studying him with equal parts awe and desperation. Every time the boy shifted in his seat, the suited man, Mr. Harris, judging by the monogram on his briefcase, shot him an icy keep-still glare that froze the child in place. The tension between the two was so stark that Leonardo's actor instincts tingled. Something was undeniably off. Leonardo offered Ethan a gentle smile, then returned to his fries, trying not to intrude. Yet the boy's stare only intensified, as if he were summoning the courage to break an invisible line. At last, Ethan slid off his seat, clutching the broken car to his chest, and shuffled toward Leonardo's table. The restaurant's chatter seemed to muffle, each second stretching as the child approached. When Ethan reached him, Leonardo set his food aside and leaned down so they were eye to eye. The boy's voice came out as the faintest whisper. Leonardo bent closer, and Ethan breathed a single urgent sentence that drained the color from the actor's face. Without hesitating, Leonardo unlocked his phone, dialed 911, and pressed it to his ear. Before the dispatcher could answer, a low, controlled voice sliced through the moment. "I'm sorry if my son is bothering you," Harris said, rising with slow deliberation. His suit was immaculate, but the polite smile never reached his stern eyes. "Ethan, come back now." The boy recoiled behind Leonardo's chair, refusing to move. Harris's jaw twitched. Leonardo stood, placing himself between them. "He's no bother at all," he replied calmly. "We were just talking about his car. Looks like it's seen better days." Harris stretched his hand toward the boy. "Family matters are best handled by family." The subtext was unmistakable. "Step aside." A nearby waitress, drawn by the sudden silence, approached with raised eyebrows. Leonardo seized the chance. "Could you bring my young friend a chocolate shake?" he asked, flashing her a thankful look that said, "Please stay close." She nodded and, as she walked off, discreetly tapped her smartwatch, an unspoken promise that help was coming. Harris exhaled through his nose, irritation flickering across his veneer of civility. "We really must be going," he insisted, reaching again for Ethan. Leonardo's hand landed gently on Harris's shoulder. Let him finish the story first. The actor's voice was soft, yet anchored with an authority that made Harris hesitate. Ethan's tiny fingers tightened around the toy car until his knuckles blanched. He peeked up at Leonardo and whispered, "He hurt my mom." The words were barely audible, but they detonated in Leonardo's mind. He sent a silent text to an emergency contact, then knelt beside Ethan. "You did the right thing telling me," he assured, though his own pulse thundered. Harris's patience snapped. "Enough," he barked, attempting to shove past. The waitress reappeared, setting a paper cup on the table, and beneath it, a folded note. "Police. 3 minutes." Leonardo slid the message into his palm and straightened, positioning his body like a shield. "Kids need to feel safe," he said, meeting Harris's glare. "Why not wait a few more minutes?" Doors jingled as 2 LAPD officers strode in, guided by the waitress's discreet gesture. Officer Ramirez, tall and broad-shouldered, led the way. Officer Vega, observant and steady, followed. The dining area hushed. Harris reclaimed his corporate composure. "Officers," he announced smoothly, "there's been a misunderstanding. I'm Ethan's father." Ramirez's gaze shifted to Ethan, who clung to Leonardo's leg. "Is that true, son?" Ethan shook his head, eyes brimming with tears. Vega crouched, speaking softly. "It's okay. Tell us what happened." The boy's voice trembled. "He hurt my mom, and he said no one would help." The officers exchanged a look, enough probable cause to investigate. Harris scoffed. "You'll take a child's fantasy over my word? Call my lawyer." Ramirez blocked his path toward the exit. "Sir, please remain where you are." Harris's facade cracked. Anger flared. He lunged, but Vega's handcuffs clicked around his wrists before he reached the door. "You have no idea who you're dealing with," he hissed as he was escorted outside to a squad car. Ethan sagged with relief, but the ordeal wasn't over. "My mom's at home," he murmured. "She can't get up." Leonardo knelt again. "Then we'll go to her, together." He turned to the officers. "He knows the address." The cruiser raced across town, siren wailing. Leonardo sat in the back seat beside Ethan, turning the boy's toy car over in his hands. "A little glue and new wheels, and this racer will fly again," he said, offering a reassuring grin. Ethan managed a fragile smile. "Do you fix cars too?" "Only the tiny kind," Leonardo joked, though worry gnawed at him. They arrived at a modest bungalow on a quiet street. The front door hung ajar. Ramirez signaled for silence, firearm drawn. Vega followed, Leonardo and Ethan waiting beside the patrol car. Seconds ticked by like hours until Ramirez's voice called out, "We need medics." Inside, furniture lay overturned. Sarah, Ethan's mother, was unconscious on the living room floor, a shallow cut bleeding at her temple. Paramedics arrived, stabilizing her and rushing her to an ambulance. Amid the chaos, Vega examined a small leather backpack recovered from Harris's McDonald's table. Inside, she found a notebook detailing surveillance routines, forged custody papers, and a one-way ticket east. Evidence of a planned abduction. The charges against Harris multiplied by the minute. Dawn's first light filtered through hospital blinds as machines beeped quietly around Sarah's bed. Leonardo sat in a plastic chair, Ethan curled against him, the once broken toy car resting, now whole, on the bedside table. When Sarah's eyes fluttered open, relief washed across Ethan's face. The doctor explained that, apart from a mild concussion, she would recover fully. Tears shimmered as Sarah grasped Leonardo's hand. "You saved us," she whispered. Leonardo shook his head. "Your son saved you." He found the courage to speak up. Over the following days, he arranged temporary housing, therapy resources, and legal aid for the family, partnering with a local domestic violence foundation. He also funded a community program teaching children self-advocacy, determined to turn a harrowing night into lasting change. 3 months later, the LAPD hosted a small ceremony in City Hall. Reporters flashed cameras as Chief Alvarez pinned a Young Hero medal onto Ethan's blazer. The boy beamed, then handed Leonardo a crayon drawing, a tall man and a little boy holding hands beneath a bright sun. The words, "My Hero," scrawled in rainbow letters overhead. Leonardo's voice caught as he knelt to eye level. "Remember, Ethan, bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to do what's right while you're afraid." The audience erupted in applause. Somewhere in the back row, Sarah dabbed tears from her cheeks, her smile radiant. Leonardo squeezed Ethan's shoulders, proud yet humbled by the journey that had begun with a simple stop for fast food. And though headlines the next day would hail Leonardo DiCaprio rescues child, he knew the real story was about a small boy, a broken toy car, and the extraordinary power of asking for help.